This is Dan from learningcameras.com, and I've got the brand new Sigma 18 to 35 millimeter f1.8 lens, and I've been so excited to get a hold of this lens because this is literally the first f1.8 zoom lens that we have seen, and it came from Sigma nonetheless, and it just is a solidly built lens. So we're gonna have a full review on this lens, really put it through its paces, see if it is good enough for you to consider buying. We've done a preview on this before, but now that we have it in our hands, I just wanted to give you kind of a quick update before the full review, just in case you're considering this lens. Now, it is made for Canon and Nikon. I'm going to be testing it on the Canon 7D. So 18 megapixel, great camera, solid build, and we're going to be putting this camera, or this lens, up with that combination. Now, the first thing you'll notice, this lens is huge. This is the Sigma 35 millimeter f1.4. This is a very large lens. This is much bigger, so it's actually larger than my 24 to 70s. Not quite as wide because it is built only for an APS-C camera like the 7D, so this won't fit on the 5D3 that I'm filming this with, for example. So that's why we're going to test it with the 7D. This one will, the Sigma 35 millimeter will, but we're going to put it up against the Sigma 35 millimeter f1.4 because they're about the same price, and so we're going to see, we're going to test them at f1.8 obviously, and beyond that at f2.8, f4, things like that. So you're going to get an extra stop with something like the 35 millimeter f1.4, the Sigma 30 millimeter f1.4, but you're going to get a zoom on this. And honestly, I don't use f1.4 that much. f1.8 is sufficiently wide for almost everything. The only downside is this is only going to work with an APS-C camera. So if you've got a 7D, if you're looking at the new 70D, if you got a Nikon D7100, for example, all those are going to be excellent cameras with this lens. But if you ever upgrade to full frame, it will not work. Now, one little thing is that actually if you have a Nikon, some of the Nikon full frame cameras will actually shoot in a cropped mode using a lens like this, so you can actually pull it off. You're not going to get the same field of view. It's going to be a cropped inside the sensor, but you can shoot with that. So let's get to this lens. First of all, when you take this out, it is big, it's heavy, it feels solid, excellent build quality, nice metal all the way around. This really feels like a top-end lens. I'm talking about L lenses and beyond. I love the Sigma 35 millimeter when it came out. Nice solid built lens. This, if anything, it even feels a little bit better. The zoom on this, it has got to be the smoothest zoom ring I have ever felt. It's a little on the tight side, but it is just buttery smooth. Excellent feel to it, and the focus as well, very smooth. Much heavier than what I've seen on other Sigma models, but just an unbelievable feel to it. It will not go, if you're looking for very quick, short throws, this is not going to be it. It feels a little bit more like it's going to be a precision focus on that. Now, one thing I will say is these longer throws often mean that even though this lens has a very fast AF motor, it probably is not going to focus quite as quickly as what we see from some of the lenses with a shorter focal range, not focal range, but the actual focus ring range. And that's because even though the motor might go at a very fast pace, it's got more room to carry. So that's one thing to keep in mind. We haven't taken it out yet, but I just wanted to show you. So overall, take a look at the size comparison for this. It is just a very large lens. It's about the same diameter, I would say, as the 35 millimeter. It just basically has this extra step in the middle, and just everything about it feels great. So let's go ahead and put it on the 70, and you can see what I'm talking about. So I don't have the grip on the 7D right now, but even with this, it is just a very large lens. Now, it's going to be great for hand holding like this. It just feels great on the camera, lots of room to be able to handle it. Your focus is on the far side. Your zoom is going to be closer to the camera. And when we add that to it, very large. Definitely a big lens. So almost like what you would get with a 70-200, a little bit smaller than a lens like that, but bigger than the 24 to 70. So hang on for the full review. We're going to be taking this out, showing you everything that it can do. 18 to 35 millimeter f1.8 lens. I'm so impressed that Sigma has been able to do this, done it with such a great quality build, and really put the test to some of the major manufacturers who have been complaining more than anything else that they have not been able to put stabilization in 24-70, for example, and that's what Canon said, is they couldn't do it in a 24-70 f2.8. Then Tamron went out and did it, so I'm really happy that these third-party manufacturers are really pushing the envelope on some of the bigger manufacturers like Canon and Nikon. So overall, I must say this is a very tempting lens. Pretty much everyone out there. Now, the only thing that's a little disappointing is going to be the range. So at 18 millimeters, that's more like 28, 29 millimeters on the Canon 7D. So it's, you know, it's not going to be super wide. And at 35 millimeters, it's going to get you just past about the 50 millimeter mark. So, you know, it's a good range. It's a nice solid range. However, if you like to shoot wide, this is not going to be wide enough. And if you like to shoot portraits, this is not quite as much as I would like to see. A 50 millimeter is probably the widest I would like to shoot portraits on. So that's the only thing on it, is its lens is a little bit, or the range is a little bit limiting. However, when you add to the fact that you can basically get more of a range than you would get with this, and around the same price, you're going to be losing one stop on the aperture, but you're going to be gaining a huge amount of zoom, 18 and 35. So you're going to be getting a nice range in that. It might be worth your money on that. So we'll definitely put it through its paces. Subscribe, where you'll get alerted when we have the full review out in a couple days, hopefully. So keep up with us. You can visit us at the website, learningcameras.com. I've got all the information on this lens as well as your order options. It's available for Canon right now. I think the Nikon one is coming shortly, depending on when you see this video. But definitely check it out and subscribe to the channel, and you'll be alerted when that comes out.